Hella fellas. Welcome back to Top 5 Choices. Today's video I am gonna do a detailed review and pick the top 5 best vlogging camera, 2021. After doing proper researches, we came to the conclusion that meets the best in terms of overall. Kindly leave a like if you find this helpful, and I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications if you haven't. We will be also providing affiliates link to purchase from Amazon. Kindly use to for best offers and purchase from anywhere in the world. We'll be back with more videos. The DJI Osmo Pocket is the camera gimbal you'll be able to take anywhere and actually want to take anywhere thanks to its tiny size and superb video quality. Its 4K 60 FPS capable camera and wand-shaped gimbal handle is no bigger than a fun-size candy bar. It measures 121.9 x 36.9 x 28.6 mm and weighs 116 g, about half the length and width an iPhone 11 Pro smartphone, though there's more than 3 times the girth and 2/3 of the weight. We were able to slip it into our jeans pockets right next to our iPhone 11 Pro Max without a problem. It's not just small, it's one-hand friendly too, with a non-slip, sweat-proof grip. That makes it easy to operate the embedded 1-inch touchscreen, which is used to cycle through modes and settings. In effect, we found it to be more mobile than the also likable DJI Osmo Mobile 3, even with the Mobile 3's new collapsible feature. It's almost a miniaturized version of the DJI Osmo 2. And unlike the phone-powered DJI Osmo Mobile 3, this gimbal won't hog your precious smartphone. It comes with a dedicated camera mounted on top. You can attach your phone for a bigger viewfinder, or rely on the small 1-inch screen that's built into the gimbal handle. It's good enough to frame shots and cycle through some menus and controls, but not all of the settings found on the smartphone app appear on this square 1-inch screen. The DJI Osmo Mobile comes with a case, which we were skeptical of at first. Usually when a company mentions a case for a cool miniaturized product, especially gimbals, it means it's going to make the device 3 or 4 times the size and not nearly as pocket-friendly. Luckily, the form-fitting protective shell for the Osmo Pocket remains svelte. It still fits into our pocket. You're going to really want to use the case too. If there's one major issue with the Osmo Pocket design, it's that it's nowhere near as durable as a GoPro, which can survive your rough and tumble life. Or maybe you're not active and just drop stuff often. That's a no-go with the DJI's smallest gimbal. The Osmo Pocket feels solid on the outside, but beneath the camera hinges are sophisticated motors that need to be protected from bumps, drops, and water. We couldn't get a full range of motion with our first review unit, and it wouldn't calibrate. We may have jostled it too much. A new unit fixed the problem completely, and DJI said it did fix the rare issue of our first Osmo Pocket review unit. The design of the body is pretty much unchanged when you compare it to the models that sit above and below it, except for a couple of little tweaks. The Sony a6400 has the exact same height and width as the a6500, but the depth is slightly less due to the slightly rounded off-hand grip. This shouldn't be an issue if you have small hands, but after a couple of hours of shooting, we wished there was a bit more body to hold on to. This camera doesn't have weather sealing, but it is about 50 g lighter than the a6500. The Sony a6400 uses a 24.2 megapixel APS-C CMOS sensor with the same 425 PDAF points as the a6300 and a6500. Unlike those two models, the a6400 also has the same number of contrast detection autofocus points, which is how it's able to achieve a claimed autofocus speed of just 0.02 seconds. The focus points cover around 84% of the sensor area, which makes it easy to track your subject. The Sony RX107 is the company's latest pocketable 1-sensor compact. It uses the same 24 to 200 mm equivalent f2.8-4.5 lens as its predecessor, but features a more capable, easier-to-use autofocus system. This comes in addition to the already impressive capabilities we saw in the Mark 6, including very fast continuous shooting and high-quality 4K video capture. And, for the first time in the series, the Mark 7 has a mic socket for improved audio recording. The Mark 7 can shoot at up to 20 frames per second with no viewfinder blackout, specs that are a match for the company's flagship A9 Sports camera. And it's this capability, along with the enhanced AF, that prompts Sony to talk about the power of an A9 in your pocket. To be clear though, it does not share its hardware with that Model .20MP1 type stacked CMOS sensor with phase detection and built-in drone 24 to 200mm equivalent f2.8-4.5 zoom. 20 frames per second continuous shooting with full autofocus and auto exposure, and no blackout 7 frame, 90 frames per second single burst mode retractable 2.36mm.EVF with 0.59x equivalent magnification 3 touchscreen LCD, flips up 180 degrees or down by 90 degrees, oversampled UHD 4K video, up to 5-minute clips in standard temperature mode, combined lens and digital active stabilization mode and video high-speed video at up to 1000 frames per second intervalometer Wi-Fi with Bluetooth and NFC. The camera sports a tilting LCD, 3 inches in size with a crisp 921K resolution and support for touch control. It's mounted on a hinge, so you can tilt it up or down to get shots from more interesting angles or point the LCD forward to shoot selfies and vlogs. Touch input works well. You can tap the screen to select a focus point or subject for tracking when capturing images or video. But there are limitations. You can't navigate menus via touch, nor can you use the screen as a touch control for focus when using the EDF. Some of Sony's competitors, including rival Canon with its G5 and G7 compact camera series, include this feature, often referred to as touchpad autofocus. The RX100 feels a bit more pro thanks to the inclusion of an eye-level viewfinder. The Fujifilm X-S10's design is simultaneously vintage Fujifilm and a big change from its other mirrorless cameras at first glance. It looks like a slightly smaller Fujifilm X-T4 with a larger, deeper grip. Because of that grip, the size difference isn't, in practical terms, much different from the X-T4. You won't be slipping the X-S10 into your pocket, but it is noticeably lighter than its sibling at 465g, making it about 3/4 the weight of the X-T4. A magnesium alloy build also gives it a more premium feel than cheaper models like the Fujifilm X-T200. It's only really when you come to use the X-S10 that you notice the big changes from the rest of the X series. Fujifilm cameras are renowned for their dial-heavy approach to controls, with most offering a triplet of wheels for tweaking your shutter speed, ISO and exposure compensation. The Fujifilm X-S10 certainly packs a lot of power and features into its relatively compact body, and the most notable of these is in-body image stabilization, IBIS. We've seen small, APS-C cameras with IBIS before, the Sony a6600, for example, but none that are as affordable as the X-S10. The most obvious rival at this price point is the Olympus OMD EM5 Mark III, which has superb stabilization but a smaller 4/3 sensor. There are also question marks over the longevity of cameras like the EM5 series, given Olympus' decision to exit the camera business. IBIS systems are useful for shooting both video and stills. They can counteract handheld jitters and preserve photo quality by letting you shoot at longer shutter speeds and lower ISOs. But they're not all made equal. The X-S10's 5-axis IBIS system is 30% smaller and lighter than the one in the Fujifilm X-T4, and slightly less effective. Still, there isn't much in it, with the X-S10 managing a maximum of 6 stops of compensation when paired with most X-series lenses, compared to the X-T4's 6.5 stops. You can read more about the X-S10's stabilization in the performance section below, but broadly speaking it's not dissimilar to the X-T4. We found the latter's stabilization claims to be a little overstated in practice, and there's no doubt that you'll still need a gimbal for truly smooth walking video footage. The Sony ZV-1 is an intriguing compact camera for a number of reasons. It's aimed squarely at vloggers, with features such as a side-opening swiveling touchscreen LCD screen, soft skin effect mode, product showcase setting and directional mic, all designed to make it easier to shoot great video. At the same time, it maintains the high quality that photographers have come to expect from Sony's long-running RX100 series, with which it shares many similarities. Indeed, the ZV-1 keeps many of the same specs found on the RX models, such as a 1.0 type stacked Exmor RS CMOS image sensor and a 24 to 70mm equivalent zoom lens. It comes with an f/1.8-2.8 Zeiss Vario Sonor T large aperture lens, too, offering a high-quality shallow depth of field to the footage it shoots. Plus, ideally for this quarantine era, Sony has recently made the ZV-1 capable of live streaming and acting as a webcam thanks to its firmware 2.0 upgrade. The Sony ZV-1 looks very much like the RX100 7, and in fact, Sony says the sensor and processor come from that camera. However, Sony redesigned many other aspects of the ZV-1 to appeal to vloggers, such as the fact that its LCD opens to the side, instead of up or down. This is a feature that makes it much easier to compose shots in selfie mode while connecting external audio accessories. As I mentioned, I used the Sony Vlogger Kit, ACCVC1, for this review, which allowed me to pair the camera with a gimbal-like grip which also doubles as a tripod. This was really useful when I shot video of myself singing with my guitar in a pub in Mattituck, Long Island, as it meant I didn't have to worry about bringing even more gear. The fact that it doubles as a tripod is really quite handy.